Hello and welcome to Bristol Sport TV from Ashton Gate's Sports Bar. In the next 10 minutes we'll bring you all you need to know about this weekend's sporting action involving your favourite teams. Plus we've an exclusive tour behind the scenes of the West Stand as it is rapidly rising out of the ground. Well, last weekend was a tough weekend for all of our teams. City were held to a point after the long journey north. Rugby suffered a shock home defeat and the Flyers hit the rocks against Glasgow at home. So I'm pleased to say that my special guest today is Andreas Kapoulas, head coach of the Flyers, the man that has masterminded their transition into the top flight of the British Basketball League and voted Coach of the Year nonetheless. Andreas, thank you very much for joining us. We'll talk about that double-header weekend in a bit further in the programme, but overall it's been a pretty good start to the season, hasn't it? 3 wins so far.
Yeah, it has been a good start. I think we feel we could have done better than we have so far, but despite the slow start we've dealt with it very effectively and we've been able to kind of build momentum, and now we've won 4 out of our last 6 games in League and Cup, so I think there's a lot more to come from us moving forward.
We'll hear a bit more from Coach K a bit later in the programme, but let's turn our thoughts to football. And City were unlucky to not come away with a full 3 points on their trip to Bolton. They now have the weekend off for the international break as they continue to move up the league, as Adam Baker reports.
It was a tale of 2 penalties at the Macron Stadium. City felt they should have been awarded a spot kick when Luke Freeman was upended, but appeals fell on deaf ears. They were also cursing their luck when Kieran Agard almost forced a freak goal, only for the crossbar to intervene. A penalty was awarded when Gary Medine went down under pressure from Nathan Baker in the box, but Frank Fielding came to the visitors' rescue. Shola Amiobi did find the net for the hosts late on, but the offside flagged curbed celebrations. City boss Steve Cotterill was in no doubt who deserved all 3 points on the day.
I felt we deserved to win the game. I thought we were by far and away the better team in the first half. Had an absolute nailed-on penalty. Absolute nailed-on, not even questionable. How he is not given that, I will never ever know. And they get a penalty that wasn't a penalty. 100% he was like looking for. That's 3 penalties we've had against us this season now. Leeds at home, never a penalty. Birmingham away, never a penalty. And today, never a penalty. And yet we've had Luke Freeman away from home. Brighton, we haven't had a penalty. And today, no penalty. It's they're unbelievable decisions. Unbelievable. It is absolutely blatant. You can't miss it. You cannot miss it. I thought we were great against it. It was our 4th game in 13 days. You know, that's one game every 3 days, just over. And I thought the shift that our boys put in was absolutely magnificent.
City are next in action on Saturday week, September 21st, when leaders Hull City visit Ashton Gate for a 12:30 kick-off. The game is live on Sky Sports.
Adam Baker reporting there. Well, Friday night rugby returned to Ashton Gate, but it wasn't the result that fans were hoping for, as Tom Vogue reports.
Bristol returned to Ashton Gate last Friday night on the back of a famous win at the Menai, and it was as if that momentum would continue when Jack Tovey strolled through the Doncaster defence inside 3 minutes. It wasn't long before the visitors levelled the score though, with a successful pushover try all of 5 minutes after, and it was a sign of things to come. With the visitors leading 24-14 at half-time, a show of individual brilliance from Will Cliff early in the second half wasn't enough to grasp the game, and Doncaster put the result beyond any doubt, crossing before time. Director of Rugby Andy Robinson spoke of his disappointment following the final whistle.
Outplayed, outworked, outthought, and credit to them for the way that they approached the game. They attacked the game, they defended well, and they deserve the win. There can be no excuses from us. That's an unacceptable performance, and if you don't play at your very best, you can get beaten by a good side, and they've completely outdone us there today.
A number of first-team players got a run out on Monday night when Bristol United played a friendly at Oxford University. George Watkins, being one of those, added a further try to his impressive tally in a Bristol shirt in the 26-38 victory. The B&I Cup begins this Friday against Ulster at the Kingspan Stadium, and as always we'll be bringing you all of the action as it happens via Twitter and the highlights of the match on Bristol Rugby TV.
And Bristol Rugby return to Ashton Gate for more B&I Cup action on Sunday the 22nd of November, kick-off at 3 o'clock against the Scarlets. We announced that Ashton Gate Stadium would host the men's under-26 nations clash of England versus Wales. That takes place on March the 11th. Well, by then, the new two-tiered West Stand will really be taking shape. And earlier this week, I caught up with Bristol Sport chairman Martin Griffiths to take a walk on the west side.
Well, it's my first time up here. Just having had a look down on the pitch, it's quite interesting to how far back you are. But the way this stand's been designed, it's a bit like the south stand. It's quite a steep rake, which means that even if you're right back here in the west stand, you've still got a fantastic view of the pitch.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal view from up here, not least of the pitch, but the surrounding area as well.
Yeah, a touch of vertigo here. No barriers, no handrails or anything like that. But I just looked out the back parapet there. You can see Dundee, you can see all across Bristol and the hills, and it just gives you a feeling for how high up we are.
Rest assured the fans will have safety rails and enclosure once it is finally complete. When are we looking at the final completion towards?
July 2016, so same real pattern as we had in the last close season. When we get to the end of this current football and rugby season, then it's all hands to the deck again to get that finishing done inside the stand. This will all be up by then with seats in by the time we get to the end of the season, but of course plenty of finishing to be done inside again.
You mentioned looking down on the south stand. I know that when everyone first saw the south stand rising, it was enormous. It was seen as a giant amongst the other stands, and now that looks like the baby.
It does. Well, that's the first time I've seen the roof since I think an EasyJet flight a couple of months ago back from Naples. But yeah, again, it's all about scale. And I've said before, you can look at a set of drawings and it's hard to imagine it until it starts coming out of the ground. But I think over this next couple of months, as these concrete seating decks go in and the true scale of this stand comes up, fans are going to get a real first glimpse of what Ashton Gate's going to be in the future.
Well, it really is an impressive structure. Andreas, I know you don't obviously play down here at Ashton Gate, but you are a regular here.
Yeah, we've been to a few games already this season. We've come to watch with some of the players. We've come to watch a rugby game, and we also come to watch a football game. And the developments here in the facility are fantastic. We
brought you here to talk about the basketball. It was a difficult weekend, not least on Saturday, going down against Glasgow Rocks, but also that horrible injury for Cardell McFarland. Just talk us through that, and how serious is it?
Well, Cardell's injury happened towards the end of the first half. He landed on someone's foot while he was shooting the basketball, and it looked quite serious at the time. Obviously, we've gone through x-rays and we've spent time with the medical staff. It looks like it's a lateral ankle sprain, so we're estimating he'll be back 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully it will be a quick recovery.
So it is good news in that he isn't out of the season, because I know there was a lot of held breaths at the SGS when he first went down.
Well, it was November time as well, which we had another injury.
That's your jinx month,
yeah,
isn't it?
November is not a good month for us. So, but no, it's positive that at least we know that he's going to be back with us soon. And right now the other guys have to pull together to cover his absence. Well,
you talk about the positives there and the team pulling together. They certainly did that on Sunday for their trip to Surrey Scorchers.
Yeah, it was a game that we needed to win. We set the tone early on, we pressured the ball, we're a lot more physical, and the win came as a result of that. So it was a real team effort, especially not having Cardell there as well. All the guys have to step up and play at a higher level. Yeah.
Well, this weekend you've got a break from the BBL as you go into the BBL Cup. You're travelling up to Cheshire. Is that going to be a tough game? What are your thoughts going into that?
Well, we've played them already once this season at home, and they beat us by 8 points. I think it's going to be a close game. It's a different type of game, but we really look forward to it. It's an opportunity to make it back to the BBL semi-finals that we achieved last year in the Cup semi-final. And we're going to be facing Newcastle as well if we're going through. And, you know, we want to measure up against the best. That's the whole point of this. And we're really kind of focused in this game. We want to progress to the next round. And we really look forward to our matchup against Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, for those that are followers of basketball but not avid followers, Newcastle are the team to beat, aren't they? They're top of the league.
Yeah, I mean, they won everything last year. They're a very good group. They brought all their guys guys back this year, and they've added one more player to their roster, which makes them very, very tough to play against. And you know, the whole point of us is, I've said it from the start, we want to win a BBL championship, and we want to see how we measure up against the best. And this is our opportunity to go in a semi-final situation against the top team in the league.
And just remind us of your next home game is next weekend, on the 20th weekend, against London Lions? Against
London Lions. It's going to be a very, very important league game for us, and it's also, we went and beat them at their place, and that was the first game.
That was at the Copper Box,
yeah, at the Copper Box, and that was the first game for Tyrone Lee, our American forward, and it was a big win for us. We needed that. It was our first win of the season as well in the league, and we hope to repeat the same in the home game.
Yeah. And it's so important, that home advantage, isn't it? Because so many players that come and play at SGS against you guys always talk about the atmosphere and the noise and the crowd. It is so important, isn't it, to get that noise behind you?
Oh, it's so important. It's like a sixth player on court. It gives the players the required confidence, and it's also, the atmosphere is just fantastic. It's electric in there, because it might not be the biggest place in the BBL, but it's definitely the loudest, and that makes a difference, especially when we're pushing to get that win. Okay,
Andreas, well, thanks very much for joining us. Best of luck for that. So don't forget, get your tickets, be the 6th person on the court for them, Friday the 20th against the London Lions. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the programme and can join us again next week. In the meantime, have a good weekend of Bristol Sport.